Welcome to GameCube Gallery, the series where we take a look at the GameCube library one game at a time. In the previous episode of GameCube Gallery, we took a look at Rugrats, a Royal Ransom. Link to that in the description down below in case you missed it. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at the first Sonic game I've played in a long time, and that is Sonic Heroes. Is it good? Well, let's find out. It's not. What's up, everybody? Somewhere hidden in this video is my Corgi Link, and if you can find him, I want you to leave a comment down below with the timestamp and his exact location. Good luck. On to the video. Before we get into today's video, folks, please remember that everything you hear in this video is just my opinion, and I'm just a small YouTuber. I'm practically a nobody on the internet, so my opinion probably should carry very little weight with you, as opposed to, you know, somebody with a much bigger platform. So remember, it's just my opinion, okay? So don't get upset, don't get butthurt. It's not that big of a deal if my opinion doesn't align with your opinion. Now, with that being said, if you have some reasonable disagreements with some of the things that I say about Sonic Heroes and you want to talk about it in the comments, you're more than welcome to throw a comment down below and we can have a civil discussion. But if you come at me in the comments acting like an asshole like the Automodelista group did, well, I'm probably just going to ignore your comment because I don't have any time. I don't have the time for stuff like that. Anyways, just remember, it's my opinion. Everybody has an opinion. It's not a big deal. Don't let it upset you. And let's get into Sonic Heroes. So what defines a good Sonic game? Well, from the beginning, the core gameplay mechanic and the thing that made Sonic so unique and fun was the speed. Going from a somewhat slower platformer like Super Mario World to the high-octane speed of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis was like going from driving a tank to a Mustang. Speed, fantastic level design, awesome music, and epic boss fights were really the core of a good Sonic game, but more than that, it was the simplistic gameplay. Take a game like Sonic 2, for example. You had your spin attack, your super spin, and the ability to run and jump, and there was beauty in that simplicity. These are the things that, in my opinion, make a good Sonic game. So what happens when you move Sonic to 3D, take away the simplicity of the controls, and add in bad level design? Well, you get Sonic Heroes, which in my opinion should not be called a Sonic game, but we will get to that. Sonic Heroes was released on December 3rd, 2003 for the GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2, and Windows, and it was the fourth 3D platforming Sonic game ever released after Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Adventure, and Sonic Adventure 2, and it was published by Sega and developed by the Sonic Team USA. So let's kick things off by getting into the story and presentation of Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes doesn't really have much of a story. It is fairly basic and straightforward, as Dr. Eggman has created some kind of doomsday weapon which he claims will bring down the world in 3 days. So Team Sonic sets out to try and stop his evil plan as usual. There are 3 other playable teams, being Team Dark, Team Rose, and Team Chaotix, and they each sort of have their own stories that intersect with Team Sonic's story. Team Dark meets in Dr. Eggman's abandoned headquarters, and all 3 characters have a personal vendetta against Eggman, so they team up to take him down. Team Rose sets out to find Sonic and 2 other characters that are all in the same picture in a newspaper. And lastly, Team Chaotix is a team of detectives, and they receive a mysterious package containing a case for them to take on that promises a large payment. Each team's story is told through cutscenes between levels, and each team plays the same sets of levels for the most part, with minor gameplay differences which we will touch on later. So let's talk about one of the few positive things I have to say about Sonic Heroes, and that is that the cutscenes look fantastic even today. The cutscenes are very well animated, crisp and colorful. They are fully voice acted, and you can tell they put a ton of work into the cutscenes. They are pretty fun to watch, even though the voice acting is bad and sometimes the scenes are very cheesy. And yes, the voice acting is bad, especially Tails' voice. Here, have a listen to some of his lines.
Hey look, it's Sonic! Sonic, check this out! out! What are we gonna do, Sonic?
So the story and voice acting are pretty bland, but the cutscenes look great and the overall presentation of Sonic Heroes is pretty good. So one thing that really impressed me about Sonic Heroes outside of the cutscenes are the in-game graphics. Sonic Heroes looks fantastic, especially when upscaled to HD and playing through progressive scan. Everything really pops off the screen as the environments and enemies are crisp and colorful with plenty of interesting details and cool background elements. The in-game animations are top-notch and there is a large variety of environments to see as you play through the game, with one of my favorites being Casino Park. Casino Park has some level design issues, but visually it was a treat with its overabundance of neon lights and colors flashing all over the place. It was a joy to play because of the visual style. And there were many other visually pleasing levels like Grand Metropolis with its massive skyscrapers and Bingo Highway with all of its dice and bingo boards, as well as similar colors and lights to Casino Park. I really enjoyed this visual variety in Sonic Heroes, and when combined with the fantastic cutscenes, in-game graphics, and animation, Sonic Heroes is easily one of the better looking games I've played on the GameCube in a while, and that's a good compliment because I play a lot of GameCube games. Another thing Sonic Heroes excels at is its performance, as the game runs buttery smooth at 60 frames per second, and I didn't notice the frame rate dropping at all. It was fast and smooth as you would expect from a Sonic game. So a lot of the music in Sonic Heroes is pretty hit or miss with me. You have some tracks that are just sort of generic guitar riff filled music like in Seaside Hill and Ocean Palace.
Here we go!
Which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that and the songs are fine and they match the theme of the level, but there's just nothing exciting or unique about them. But then you have really cool tracks like the happy and whimsical sounding track in Casino Park, which I really enjoyed, or the very chaotic and electronic track in Bingo Highway, which is one of my favorites. It's so fast and just chaotic and is really cool. So I really enjoyed those two tracks, but to be honest, most of the other tracks in Sonic Heroes are pretty generic and forgettable, but they serve their purpose just fine. The sound design is good for the most part, with plenty of contextual sounds that enhance the gameplay and atmosphere, and plenty of classic Sonic sounds that never get old, like the sound of picking up rings, or hell, even the sound of getting hit and losing your rings. The one thing that annoyed me though, and this is a problem that plagues many games from this generation, is that the characters constantly say the same things over and over, or make the same noises over and over as you perform different actions, and damn, it gets annoying. One strange example is that when you attack with Knuckles, he repeatedly says something and it sounds like he is saying shit rock over and over. Like shit rock, shit rock. Here, have a listen and tell me in the comments if you know what he is actually saying, because to me, it sounds like shit rock.
Annihilation.
Shit rock! Shit rock! Shit rock! Shit rock! Shit rock! Shit rock!
So overall, the music and sound design is average, but nothing really blew me away outside of those two musical tracks I mentioned earlier. So let me begin by giving you an overview of the structure and gameplay of Sonic Heroes, then I will tell you my big issues with the gameplay. As I stated earlier, there are 4 different teams to choose from, and each team plays the same 14 standard levels, 2 versus levels where you fight another team, 2 robot swarm levels where you fight a ton of robots, and 3 boss fights. Each team controls essentially the same, as you have your fast character like Sonic, your slower character that is good at combat like Knuckles, and your flying character like Tails. Team Sonic is basically your normal difficulty, and your primary goal is to make it through each level as quickly as possible. Team Rose would represent your easy difficulty, as the levels are shorter and with less enemies. Team Dark would be your hard difficulty, and each mission has more of a focus on killing enemies. Team Chaotix is more of a slower paced difficulty, as in each level you have a particular mission you are trying to accomplish, and it isn't just make it to the goal. So other than those differences, everything is pretty much the same, except some of the attacks between teams are slightly different. I primarily played with Team Sonic, as I'm not as familiar with some of the other characters. As you play the game, you will be swapping between 3 members of your team depending on what sort of level obstacles or enemies are thrown your way. For example, for sections that require speed, you would want to switch to your fast team member like Sonic. For sections that have a lot of enemies, enemies, you would want to switch to your fighter team member like Knuckles, and for sections that require platforming and flying, you would want to switch to your flying character like Tails. Each team member has their own unique moves, attacks, and special abilities, some of which are required to use to progress further. For example, Sonic has a horizontal wall jump ability that is needed to progress sometimes, and of course there are some sections of levels that require flight to progress. Each character has their own attacks, but you will primarily be using your fighter team member for combat, with the exception of flying enemies which require your flying team member, and some bosses which require certain team members at certain times. The level design is pretty much what you would expect from a 3D Sonic game, especially if you've played the Sonic Adventure games. You will be running, jumping, fighting enemies, and avoiding obstacles, and there are some platforming sections and some diverging paths and light exploration in each stage. You will be bouncing off bounce pads, shooting from cannons, grinding on rails, bouncing around a pinball machine, running across boost pads, and much more as you navigate each level. There are some levels with absolutely fantastic level design like Bingo Highway, Rail Canyon, and Mystic Mansion. But for the most part, level design in most other levels is just bland and problematic. Very few levels actually stood out to me like those three did. The main story in Sonic Heroes takes around 11 hours to complete, and a completionist run can take up to 32 hours. The fastest speed run for Sonic Hero was 46 minutes and 16 seconds, and if you watch it, it's actually very impressive to see. I'll leave a link to that in the sources down below. Outside of the main story mode, there is a challenge mode where you can replay old levels to improve your score and rank, and there is a 2-player mode which I did not play and have no interest in playing, honestly. So here we are. We're going to get to some of my major issues with Sonic Heroes. First and foremost are the controls and team member mechanics. The controls are terrible. They are very fiddly and slow down the action, and the camera controls are garbage and resulted in many deaths that should have never happened. I just really don't like the 3-hero mechanic and swapping between them, and the main reason I don't like it is because it slows down the action way too much, and Sonic games are supposed to be fast. The real fast sections were basically just on-rail scenes that are played out for you, and while they look cool, you are not actually controlling the characters during these parts, so it creates a false sense of speed without the fun of actually doing it. There were way too many times where I had to stop to figure out which team member would be best to use, and was never satisfying or fun for me. Tails or any of the flying characters were pretty much useless except for the bits that require flying or to take down flying enemies. Knuckles or any of the fighting characters are just not fun to use because it all feels like button mashing to me. Additionally, during combat, if you're not careful, you will go to do an attack and throw yourself right off the edge. This happened to me so many times and it pissed me off so bad. That is unforgivable game design. You should never have to worry about falling off a stage because you arbitrarily missed an enemy during an attack, or you go to attack the enemy and they die, but you press the button again because you have to button mash and you end up flying off the edge. Between that and the camera and frustrating lock-on mechanics and some very frustrating sections that seem like luck was involved, I died a lot, and very rarely was my death a result of the game being difficult. My deaths were almost always a result of poor game design or controls, and that ruins a game for me. It almost felt like the developers were not sure if Sonic Heroes would be a 3D platformer versus a fast-paced action game, and they tried to meet in the middle, and it just does not work. Also, the versus levels where you fight another team were garbage. I literally just pressed buttons until I won, so there was really no strategy involved, and the boss fights are so damn boring and frustrating that it was embarrassing that this game is a Sonic game. In classic 2D Sonic games, the boss fights were so much fun and they were incredibly epic. Well, that's not the case with Sonic Heroes. The first boss fight was so stupid and boring, I don't even know how I beat it, and it was over before I knew it. The second boss fight was very boring and uninspired, and also incredibly frustrating due to the bad controls and level design. You get the idea. But amidst all the shit gameplay, there were some moments of brilliance that appeared every now and then, like the Bingo Highway level or Rail Canyon, and those levels felt more like a true Sonic experience to me for the most part. Ultimately, I did not find Sonic Heroes to be a fun game because the level design was inconsistent, the controls and camera were both terrible, and the game was just too damn frustrating in a very cheap way. Gameplay and fun factor in a video game is everything to me, and Sonic Heroes failed at that for me. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the game is terrible, I think it's an okay game, and I can certainly understand why some people like it, but I will probably never play Sonic Heroes again for the rest of my life, and I will be perfectly content with that. So here is how I see Sonic Heroes. I see Sonic Heroes as a bad Sonic game because it messed up what I feel like makes a Sonic game great. But as a video game in general, it's okay to average at best. The cutscenes, graphics, presentation, performance, music, and sound design are all good, but the gameplay, level design, controls, and camera are, in my opinion, not great at all, and this resulted in a very frustrating and boring experience for me. As I said, gameplay and fun factor are the most important things about a game for me, and because Sonic Heroes failed at that, I don't like the game. But remember, this is just my opinion, and a lot of people disagree with my opinion, as we're going to see in just a moment. Now clearly, many critics and most users feel differently than I do, because on Metacritic.com, Sonic Heroes has a critic score of 72 out of 100 with 49 critic reviews, and a user score of 7.8 out of 10 with 237 user ratings. I do suspect that many of these users are hardcore Sonic fans, but I could be wrong about that. This critic and user score does show that my opinion about Sonic Heroes may be an unpopular opinion, and that's okay, because Sonic Heroes was immensely popular and was a massive success sales-wise, with the GameCube version selling 1,420,000 units worldwide, the PS2 version selling 3,160,000 units worldwide, and the Xbox version selling 900,000 units worldwide. So between all three versions of the game on consoles, it sold over 5 million units worldwide, which is really good. So again, this shows that my opinion is an unpopular opinion. Now one random little interesting tidbit is that the PlayStation 2 version of Sonic Heroes runs at 30 frames per second, whereas the GameCube and Xbox versions run at 60 frames per second. A lot of people may not realize this, but the GameCube was actually more powerful than the PlayStation 2, as was the Xbox, so this makes sense. At the time of this recording, on PriceCharting.com, the GameCube version of Sonic Heroes loose is around $20, complete it's around $25, and new it's around $83. At the time of this recording, I am seeing current eBay listings for Sonic Heroes on the GameCube complete for around $30 with shipping, and I am seeing recent sold listings complete for around $32 to $39 with shipping. So it's not super expensive, but it's certainly climbing in price like most GameCube games, so if you are a GameCube collector or a hardcore Sonic fan, I would recommend picking it up for the collection, but I do not recommend picking it up to actually play. Well, there you have it, folks. GameCube Gallery on Sonic Heroes. Let me know in the comments down below if you've played Sonic Heroes and what you think about it. Maybe you agree with my opinion, maybe you completely disagree with my opinion. Like I said, it's an unpopular opinion, clearly, so let me know in the comments down below how you feel about Sonic Heroes. Also, let me know in the comments down below if there's any GameCube games that you recommend that I cover in a future episode of GameCube Gallery. I'd love to hear those recommendations. As always, folks, keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later. Made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're freaking awesome, and if you enjoyed it, hit that like button, share it with your friends and family. Check out all the social media links in the description down below, and if you want to see more Retro Wolf 88 videos, here's a couple more for you. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go play some more video games. Later.